Good afternoon, welcome. My name is Laura Smirka, and I'm here from the SHARE program. And I want to thank Atas for inviting me to come and talk about the program, and I want to thank all of you for coming today to hear about all these different programs. So, the SHARE program is under the ERDT, or Educational Resource Development Trust umbrella. We have lots of different programs, and I'm just going to go over. We have exchange-based programs, immersion, ranch and farm stays, work and travel. We've been incorporated as a nonprofit since 1974, designated by the United States Department of State since 1980, and granted listing by the CSIET advisory list since 1988. I'll talk about that a little bit later. It's all about student safety. We have 11 staff members, and between all of us, we have 185 years of combined experience. So we've been doing this for a while. We're highly regarded in the industry, and our main concern is student safety and having a good experience. Our mission at ERDT is engaging in cross-cultural experiences that foster goodwill and knowledge through positive homestay, high school, volunteer, and work experiences. To provide opportunities for people of different cultures to come together and learn about other points of view and ways of life. And our programs are designated to be cross-cultural experiences that foster goodwill, acceptance, and understanding through positive people-to-people understanding. So that's exactly what the exchange program is. You will be coming to an American family and living like an American person for either a semester or a year. We have a few other programs we offer. I'm just going to go through them quickly. An Envision program, it's short-term, 1 to 8 weeks. Younger students come. You can customize it. It's about English language and learning about culture. Here's a few pictures from that. Ranch and farm stays. You can come and live like an American cowboy. We have a work and travel program, which maybe you've heard of before. It's little older kids. These are college-age students who come and work in America for about 4 months, earn money, doing a fun job. And last but not least is the SHARE program, which is the high school exchange program, which you're all here to hear about today. SHARE is designated by the Department of State to administer the high school exchange program for international teenagers. So this is a J1 visa program. Participants come on the J1 visa, and the Department of State allows them to stay in America for either a semester or a year and attend American high school. Its goal is to give people training and experience in the U.S. that they can use in their home countries and assist the Department of State in furthering foreign policy and objectives of the United States. Provides public diplomacy, which has emerged as an important tool for American foreign policy. The big one of that is public diplomacy. The United States government believes that the best way to foster goodwill with other countries is to have a person-to-person experience. That's really living in somebody else's culture for a year or a semester is a unique opportunity to have a much better understanding of what it's like. And then the hope is that students will come and have a good experience and go home and share that experience with family and friends, just sort of spread the goodwill. We're designated by the Department of State. The U.S. government allows us to issue visas. And because of that, we're required to adhere to really strict standards and guidelines that the government sets. Their main objective is student safety. They have a lot of rules, and really all of them are designed to keep the students safe and to assure they have a good experience. All of the schools that we work with have to be accredited. Everybody who's involved in the exchange program has to have a criminal background check. So the host families have to pass a criminal background check. The local coordinator, The exchange program coordinator that I'll talk about has a background check. All of us in the office pass a background check, so you can be sure that by the time a host family has seen a student's application, they have passed really rigorous screening requirements. Our local coordinators visit the host family homes. They do we ask every host family to provide us with references that we call just to make sure that they're good people with high standing in the community. And then once the student arrives, we hire a third party, an independent third party who comes into the house and double checks it just to make sure it still looks good, still safe, and everything's up to par. Our local coordinators, or EPCs, have to live within 120 miles of the student placement. So if anything happens, if there's an emergency or if the student needs help at any time, your local coordinator lives close enough to be there quickly. The Department of State requires 120 miles, but it shares rule that it's only 60 miles. We ask our coordinators to place very close to their home so that they can be available if need be quickly. Our EPCs are also required to conduct orientations and submit monthly progress reports for the students so that the bio families, you guys, can get an update every month on how the student's doing with their host family, with the school. We also, our coordinators are required to give an orientation on sex abuse and exploitation, how to recognize it, react, and report. Now, this is not a very fun topic, but we make sure our coordinators are very educated and ready to assure that the student is safe. So, just an overview. We started small with just a few students and dedicated local coordinators. And we've really grown into a highly recognized medium-sized company. We place between 500 and 650 students, which is a great size. It's not so big that we don't know every single student that comes through. We place students from 30-plus countries around the world. We have about 150 local coordinators all over the country placing students. So I just want to go over the way this program kind of works, where it starts and the chain of communication. So it starts with you and your student. You'll work with ATAS, the sending partner. So you'll contact them if you're interested in the program. They'll provide you with an application. They'll help you fill it out. They'll help you gather all the materials that you'll need. Once all of that is complete, they send it to our office, where we'll review it, we'll make sure we've got everything we need for the schools, for the host families. We'll ask for more information if we need it. Once we approve it at the national level, that's when our local coordinators get access to the applications. So they'll be able to read all about your student, their interests, where they'd like to live, what they'd like to do, and then they go about matching the student applications with host families and local high schools. So they find these volunteer host families, they learn about the host families, and then they match the students with the appropriate families. So who can be a student? You have to be between the ages of 15 and 18. We need 3 years of school transcripts. We need a written teacher recommendation. You have to be mature. You're leaving your home for 6 months or a year. You're coming all the way to America. We really want to make sure that you're ready for that experience. In your application, you'll write a letter to your potential host family, which is very important. We want you to be honest about what you're like, what you're interested in, because our host families choose your application based a lot on that letter. Health and immunization records, and that if you come on the J-1 visa, it has to be the first year that you've studied in America. That's a stipulation of that specific visa. Our host families. we have host families of all kinds. We have host families who have teenagers in the home. We have host families whose kids are grown and gone. We call them empty nesters. We have host families with no kids. We have single host families, alternative lifestyle host families. They can't be related to the student in any way. They're 100% volunteer. They don't get paid at all. They are doing this because of the experience. They're basically adopting your child for the year. It's another person in their family. We ask them to treat them just like their own children. We do several home visits to make sure that the home is safe and nice. We ask for the references. We do in-person interviews with all the family members. Everybody in the household passes a criminal background check, and they have a lengthy application that they fill out on their own. So while you're filling out the applications on this end, our host families are doing something similar in America, filling out big applications and being rigorously screened. Our families live in all different kinds of houses. These are taken from a few of our host family applications. So they're all over the country. All of the houses look a little bit different. When you receive the host family application from ATAS, once a host family has chosen you, you'll see pictures of their home. You'll get a snapshot of what their lives are like. They're required to send a picture of their kitchen, the place where the student will sleep. Americans love pets. It's really a big deal. Most families have a dog or a cat or both. So it's best if you're also interested in pets, but if you're not, you need to let ATAS know. Just in case, if you're afraid of animals, be sure to let us know. And they all look different. It's as diverse, really, as our entire country. So the Share EPC, or the local coordinator that I've been mentioning. So this is the person who will be the main contact while you're on the program. If you've got problems, you call them immediately. If you have a disagreement with your host family, they're going to help you. If you have questions about school or friends or anything, they're the person you call. They also have to have a criminal background check. They have to pass United States Department of State testing every year. They have to live close to your host family. They also have to complete annual training and workshops and a certification for sex abuse training as well. So they're really trained, they're knowledgeable, they're experienced. Most of them have hosted students before or host every year as well. So they're great. They also do this because they love the program, they love the students, they love learning about different cultures. Like I said, they're the ones that match your application with the host families. They do the home visits. They interview the family. They also talk to the local high school and ensure your enrollment. So they work with the high school to make sure that you can come to American high school for the year. They conduct orientations before and after arrival, monthly check-ins, and then they work with you if you've got any problems. Before you come and after you'll arrive, you'll have several orientations. You'll have one before you leave. ATAS will meet with you and give you kind of an in-depth orientation about the rules, what to expect. Once you arrive, your coordinator will also meet with you, answer any questions. Usually kind of within the first few weeks, you'll have a meeting with your coordinator. And then before you depart, before you come back home, you'll have another orientation with your coordinator just to make sure there's no loose ends. Our high schools. So when you're in America, you'll go to American high school just like an American teenager. All of our high schools are accredited. They don't necessarily guarantee graduation. Once in a while, they allow a student to graduate. Part of high school is school sports. You'll be eligible to play, try out for and play all the different kinds of sports. The only small detail about that is if you've already graduated from high school here, then you're not eligible to participate in sports in America. But if you've not graduated yet, and usually our students haven't, they're eligible to play whatever they'd like. You select your own schedule. You pick whatever classes you'd like. You'll do that before school starts. Your host family and coordinator will help with that. And on top of that, there's all the American clubs and music and sports, and we encourage exchange students to get involved in any and everything the school has to offer, because it's really fun. Really, American school is a lot like what you see in the movies and TV. You know, you have a locker, you go from class to class. It's where you're going to meet all your friends, most likely. We expect that students study hard while on the program. We expect a C average. If you go below that, then your coordinator is going to be checking in on you, making sure you're trying harder. Like I said, sports are a huge deal in America. Pretty much every school offers a really large array of sports. So we encourage students to try out for and play on any team that they're interested in. American schools have a lot of dances. I don't know if that's a thing in Poland, but prom is probably the biggest one. Girls go out and buy ball gowns. The boys wear suits. They go, you know, it's fancy, it's really fun. If you're interested in acting or singing, there's generally several productions throughout the year, musicals, plays, you can participate in those. Girls have the opportunity to participate in something called pageants. It's just a competition that is fun if you're interested. Really, there's kind of something for everybody to try. And again, we encourage the students to get involved in anything they might be interested in, because it really does make the high school experience fun. Another big part of high school in America is something we call school spirit. Maybe you've seen it in movies or TVs. Pep rallies, cheerleaders. You come to school in costumes and decorate your lockers. This is a clip from one of our schools. This is a clip one of our students sent from a school in Texas. And this is what's called a pep rally. This is very common throughout the year.
Let's go Raiders!
So you can see it's really fun. The teachers, a lot of the people dancing were actually teachers. Everybody gets into it. It's hilarious. Okay, so where you'll be placed when you come on the program. We have 4 different regions. Every region has something to offer. You'll have opportunities in each region to see different things. These are our western states. And here's a few attractions. If you're placed in the western region, it could be anywhere from Washington down to California. It's where a lot of our mountain regions are and great national parks. Obviously, Seattle and Hollywood is a few attractions. Our southwestern region is where we place the majority of our kids. This is Texas. The schools are bigger. This is New Orleans, the Alamo, Dallas, Texas. It's also very beautiful. There's lots of opportunities there. This is the Midwestern region. If you're placed there, there's always a trip to Chicago. There's a trip to Aspen, a ski trip in the winter that you can participate in. And then, of course, our northeastern states. This is, New York down, basically. And if you're placed in the northeast region, you'll have an opportunity to see New York, Washington, D.C., Baltimore. So really, it doesn't matter which region you're placed in. You're going to have an opportunity to see the local attractions and the sites. Each region does something a little bit different. There's a road trip on the West Coast, a bus trip on the East Coast, skiing trips, lots of excursions. But on top of that, we also work with a company called Bello. And all Bello does is exchange program coordinator, or exchange program trips. So exchange students from all over the country are eligible to go on these trips. They go to Hawaii, they do a California trip, a New York trip. So if you're placed somewhere and your family isn't able to travel with you to a place that you'd like to see, you're also eligible to sign up for a trip through Bello. Of course, it's at an additional cost. It's not covered in the program, but if you're interested in it, you can participate. So that's all I have for you today. I'm happy to answer any extra questions. I'm sitting right over there as well if you want to come and visit. Thank you so much for coming out today.
Thank you very much.